Hi, I'm Rita Wilkins, also known as the Downsizing Designer. Today's video is one that I hope that you enjoy. It's the designer secrets for designing smaller spaces. And actually, it's one of my favorite subjects. Although for many of you who know me or have followed me for a long time, you know that I have many favorite subjects in design. But this particular one is personal to me. Because many of you who know my story, I downsized from a 5,000 square foot home to my tiny 867 square foot apartment here in Philadelphia. That's how I got the moniker, the Downsizing Designer. And like you, I was challenged with how can I make this much smaller space, not just my home, but a place that is beautiful and dramatic and just a place that I want to come home to, a place that I want to spend time in, and invite my family and friends. So I understand and I totally relate to the challenge that you might be facing as you are thinking about a smaller space. So if you are thinking of downsizing, or maybe you already have, and you don't know how to make it look great, you don't know how to make it look less cluttered, then today's video is meant for you. And I'm really excited to share my top 5 all-time favorite design secrets that I've collected for the last 35 years. So number 1, and this is more of a minimalist approach, but less is more in a smaller space. The last thing you want to do is to over-furnish it, over-clutter it, using a minimalist approach of less is more, making the most of every single square inch, maxing out storage, using multi-purpose furniture. Everything should have a home. And keeping the floor clear, making it feel bigger and more open, and editing every single day. It's kind of funny how more things show up in a small space. When you live in a large home, you know, mail can stack up a little bit, magazines can stack up, and you won't even see them. But in a smaller space, you'll notice them much more. The second secret is mirrors and lighting should become your best friend. So because you might have fewer windows, maybe less natural light in your smaller space, it's important to light it well and to create the illusion of a bigger, lighter, brighter space. So mirrors, when they're well placed, they reflect natural light. They let the outside in. In my apartment, I strategically placed a very large mirror positioned right near my balcony so that I can actually see the park, Washington Square, below me. So it makes me feel like I'm outside, but I'm not. So in my master bedroom, I strategically placed a mirror very close to, it's a large freestanding mirror, close enough to the window that I could see sunrise every morning. Now I'm an early riser, so, you know, seeing sunrise is exciting to me. It may not be exciting to everyone else. But in that particular case, the mirror allowed me to have that sunrise show up every single morning, even when it's not so sunny. So mirrors, also using wall-to-wall mirrors that can be done very tastefully. They can literally double your space visually. So, and then adding light. I mean, light in itself. So if you think about a chandelier reflecting in that wall-to-wall mirror, think about what that's doing to the room. It just literally lights it up. Wall sconces are a great way to light a room, and let's just say that they're flanking one of those mirrors. Wall sconces help to illuminate, but they're not taking up the floor space. And you might even want to consider using sconces at your bedside. Use those instead of lamps. The bottom line is lighting and mirrors open up your space. They give it an appearance of light and bright and bigger, and they contribute to the overall happiness that you'll have, you know, in your smaller space. Lighting is critical to that component. And then number 3 tip or secret is don't be afraid to go bold with color or with scale. While the general rule of thumb, as you've probably heard, is in smaller spaces, use a lighter color palette and go small in scale. But the funny thing is, the opposite can also be true. It depends on your personality, on your design style, and also your capacity for stepping out of your comfort zone. So over the past 35 years, I've designed both. Tiny spaces that have a light color palette, they give an illusion of that larger space. Ones with the darker palette, they give that cozy, intimate jewel box kind of flavor. And then I've designed spaces with small scaled pieces that are well suited to the smaller space that you'd be living in. And then I've also used overscaled pieces that are well selected and add that dramatic statement that you might be interested in. So the bottom line is about bold color and overscale. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to try bold color. Don't be afraid to try a few very select pieces of artwork that's oversized, accessories oversized, or furniture oversized. And of course, there's always a middle ground, which is actually one of my favorite ways to go with this, because too often, not too often, but often people are afraid. So if I suggest a very, very dark room, it's scary for people to visualize that. So we might even start with a single wall, an accent wall that's very bold. We might take one piece of very large art, and that becomes a dramatic overstatement. Using that dramatic touch does not have to close in an area. As a matter of fact, it draws you into the area. So I'm really a fan of this middle ground approach of making it dramatic and yet light and bright. So a fourth designer secret, everything must function and hopefully be multifunctional. So having grown up in Europe and living in small spaces with a large family, I'm a big fan of built-ins. Especially the wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling kind. And talk about multifunction. So they can hold books, display, storage, desk, files. They can even be pull-out dining, wine storage, TV, media, music, clothing storage. So a built-in serves all of those purposes. And over the years, I've designed hundreds of built-ins. That's often my go-to. They not only look great, but they can blend in and be integrated into the setting, in such a way that you barely even notice them there, but they're holding almost your entire life in there. So they house everything that you could possibly imagine. So, built-ins, when I say that, it probably scares some people because it is a more expensive alternative, but it is not something that you have to shy away from. It can store just about anything that you've ever imagined. But the funny thing is about built-ins, the way that we design them is that when we say built-in, okay, it's built in for now for this particular house, but it means that they can be disassembled and taken with you for repurposing in another area. So you might spend the money now, but later on you can certainly repurpose them. And the fifth secret that I would like to share with you is creative storage solutions. Everything must function and have multi-purpose and also expand. So a few of those, my favorite designs, one is a cocktail table that actually I designed years ago, and it's now being shown in a lot of catalogs and stores. It's not mine because someone else had the same idea, but it's a cocktail table that converts to dining height, desk height, standing desk height, and then of course it's used as a coffee table with some storage. So the funny thing is that's 4 functions in one piece of furniture. That's ideal. So another one that I'm intrigued by, and it's kind of making a comeback right now, it's called the hutch headboard, with the flanking night tables that are really more drawers for storage, for clothing and so forth, and then under bed drawer storage. That particular unit has book storage, it has display storage, it has lighting, it has a night table, and then also the underbed. So there's almost 5 or 6 functions with that one piece of furniture. So my mantra is everything in small spaces has to have a home, and keep it hidden out of sight until you actually need it. So because of small spaces, everything shows up differently. The more you can put behind doors, the better off you're going to be. And pieces that kind of fall into the good storage solution category would be storage towers that we're now using in bathrooms. So they're the towers that sit flanking the sink, and we always put electric inside of them. And they go from the countertop up to the ceiling. They serve as storage for a toothbrush that you can plug in, hair dryer, razors, anything can be plugged in, toiletries, medicine. And what happens there then is you simply open the door or you close the door. Everything is hidden, it's off of your countertop. I love designing with those things. And then another storage solution that you probably have seen and know about are storage benches, storage ottomans, storage chairs. Those are great for blankets, for throw pillows, for toys. There's all kinds of ways to hide things and yet have them accessible to you when you need them. So I hope that these tips were helpful to you, and if you're considering downsizing, moving to a much smaller space, or if you've already downsized, know that it is possible to create a small space that you will love. You do need to be selective, you do need to be creative. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'd love to hear back from you. What are some of your takeaways from this, from the secrets, design secrets? I'd love to hear from you. So comment below, like, share, and also if you have questions and if about your own downsizing process or storage solution process, I do offer a 30-minute complimentary call. Go to my website, Rita Wilkins at ritawilkins.com, and I'd love to hear from you and make a difference for you. Have a great day.